What if I were to suggest that you play a key role in the awakening world? And that you are watching this because you have heard the call. We can start right now by opening our hearts and minds. Welcome to the awakening world.
Welcome, everybody. I'm your host, Scott Thomas, also known as the Love Coach, or Love Coach Scott, and welcome to the Sacred Sunday edition of the Awakening World. And I want to welcome all of our friends in our Zoom room. I see a lot of our regular, familiar faces and friends, but I also want to welcome everybody who's watching on Facebook and on YouTube. And a big thank you to John and Summer Raymer. They put us out through the Sign Network to as many as 100 Facebook groups and pages. So welcome. It's great to have you with us. And what you may want to do is you may want to actually come on into our Zoom room. We've got some really wonderful people with us today. It's a great topic. Our topic is all about spiritual sovereignty. What's that mean? Well, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about how to create true spiritual sovereignty in a very multi-denominational way. We're a multi-denominational show. We don't promote any one particular path, but instead we honor the many paths to awakening, to this beautiful awakening world that we are a part of. And you're going to meet 5 incredible women and 1 incredible man, that being Omashar, our house musician, who are going to share with you tips, tools, and practices for creating spiritual sovereignty. And I'm going to briefly just kind of show you who we've got. We've got with us 2 wonderful, they're kind of both co-hosts because they've been on the show multiple times. You'll be seeing them throughout the years, I'm sure. We've got Krista Collins with us, and Krista is awesome. She's also going to be co-hosting with me again next weekend. We also have Nicole Keating with us, and Nicole is the co-founder of Soul Search and the Platinum Project. We're going to be hearing a lot about that. And then some of these other wonderful women are all part of Soul Search, which is a great organization. And that includes Aurora, Luna Star. I had a chance to meet her in her home in Sedona. She had a little dinner party I went to. She's amazing. Much more than just beautiful, incredible pink hair, truly. And we've got with us a new friend, Lori Wheeler, traveling. She's in Utah right now, traveling, but from Colorado. She'll be with us. And then making her debut also with us is Payton Tance. So welcome, Payton. It's great to have you with us. So it's going to be a wonderful show. And again, for those of you watching on Facebook or on YouTube, go to globalpeacetribe.com and register. It's really easy. You just go to globalpeacetribe.com and then you'll see the link right here at the bottom. And when you register, you're going to get the links, not just to today, but for all of our shows. And we do 3 shows every weekend, Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday. And as you can see, for example, these are the posters for this weekend shows. Every show has its own unique qualities with amazing inspirational teachers, sometimes famous people that you may have met before, like Marcy Shimoff or Marianne Williamson. and oftentimes the next generation. And a lot of the people you're going to see today are kind of next generation. So we've got a wonderful show. And we always like to, on Sundays, kind of start with an opportunity to drop in, really kind of slow down. I need to slow down a little bit, don't I? And drop in. And so wonderful Aurora is going to lead the meditation. And then our house musician, Omashar, is going to go right into some music. And then we'll move into the topic of the show. So Aurora, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be with all of you this morning and all of you who will be watching. So thank you for this opportunity and for being here today. And would love for everyone to just start by taking 3 deep but gentle breaths, perhaps choosing to close your eyes. Just feel into your body, into the space where you are. And as you're breathing, allow yourself to set an intention of what it means for you to be spiritually sovereign. You don't have to know the answer in this moment, but you can set the intention for what that might feel like for you. And if you can see or imagine in your mind's eye a beautiful rose gold light coming in through the center of your heart chakra or the center of your chest. Just allowing yourself to continue to breathe. Allowing this rose gold light to fill into your entire physical body. Connecting with all of your systems. Your central nervous system. Your lymphatic system, your endocrine system. Allowing this rose gold light to permeate your bones, your organs, your blood, every molecule that makes up your physical being. And as you're breathing in this rose gold light, allowing it to anchor out through the bottoms of the feet or the base of the spine into Mother Gaia, Mother Earth. On every inhale, you're receiving more rose gold light. On every exhale, you're expanding your energy all around you. So we allow this rose gold light to permeate into the emotional field. And here we can set an intention to release all that which is no longer serving. And whatever comes up to be loved, just allow. Taking another breath. And on the exhale, allowing this rose gold light to move into the mental field. From here, we set an intention to release our limiting beliefs and thought patterns. We allow ourselves to keep expanding on our definitions, our understandings, our soul memory. Good. And as we inhale again, more rose gold light, we exhale gently and expand our energy into our etheric field. Our etheric field is our connection to our sovereign source self, our I am presence. We are connecting to all that is, all that was, and all that will ever be. And as you gently continue your breath, feeling how expansive you are, and also how connected to Gaia you are. Feeling that light move between Gaia and all that is, almost creating a figure eight so that you have your torus field moving all around you, and also a figure eight connection between heaven and earth, naturally unfolding with ease and grace. There's really nothing to do. From the space, you just allow yourself to be.
It's the driving force of the way of the universe. I am. Radiant sunrise is why we're here. Heart streaming light into our atmosphere, where life is dear and love will free us all. I am the trees, I am the soil. I am your heart, I am your soul. It's in every one of us, the heart of us all. I am. It's the driving force of us, the way of the universe. Radiant sunrise is why we're here. Heart streaming light into our atmosphere, where life is dear and love will free us all. It's in every one of us, the heart of us all. I am. It's the driving force source of us, the way of the universe. I am. Radiant sunrise is why we're here. Heart streaming light into our atmosphere, where life is dear and love will free us.
Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. And that is beautiful, beloved brother Omashar.
You're
Let's
welcome.
twinkle him. Let's give him some good twinkling here.
And thank you very much for the meditation beforehand. Such a great deepening. Thank you so much, Aurora.
Thank you very much, Aurora. That was a lovely start. And we're going to be getting to know Aurora. We're going to hear more music from Omashar. But, you know, if you want to hear music from Omashar, a wonderful way to do that and to support him is by going to omashar.bandcamp.com. And there's all sorts of wonderful Omashar music there. For any of you who are watching for the first time, he's our house musician. He's with us for almost every show, always playing beautiful, beautiful music. And we love our beloved brother Omashar, and we want to support him by going to Bandcamp and getting his music there.
Thank you so much.
All right, we have our very rich show, and this show is interactive, especially with the people that are in our Zoom room. So again, if you're watching on Facebook, come on into the Zoom room, because we want to hear from some of the audience members. What does spiritual sovereignty mean to you? And we're going to briefly meet all the people that are on our show today. They're all part of this wonderful organization, Soul Search. And serving as kind of both the presenter and co-host is Krista. She's with us. And many of you actually saw Krista. She's been on the show a few times now. Just recently did a great show all about epigenetics and seventh generation thinking. And Krista, I've put the full spotlight on her. She is an extraordinary woman. I've really enjoyed getting to know her. She's a psychic medium, a transformational guide. She's coming out of the corporate world and went through a big spiritual awakening, which I think is true for a lot of the people with us today. And she really combines magical alchemy of her psychic spiritual understanding with really creating activation for people. She helps people to wake up. And one of the things that's so appreciate about Krista, what is this? This is the awakening world. We're all awakening. And Krista's very dedicated to her own personal awakening and helping other people to awaken. So thank you, Krista, for being with us once again.
My pleasure, Scott. And so beautiful to be with all of you, dear Soul Search sisters today, and Omashar, and also all of our beautiful guests of the show. Thank you for being here. So yes, all that you said, Scott, is true in my journey. And it's been such a beautiful journey. Oh, wow. I'm just looking out at the hills and I just see two deer.
Beautiful.
Interesting that I looked up at that moment too. Maybe the
Deer medicine has entered the room.
They are here. They are here. I'm at the farm in my parents' residence in North Dakota, which is also just me following my heart and my inner guidance to be near my family right now, which is a beautiful, beautiful place to be. And I guess when we talk about the topic of sovereignty, it's really about being in your heart and listening to that inner guidance. And I've been on my spiritual journey. I remember back into high school when it started, but it was 2012, 10 years ago where I had my strong spiritual awakening. So I've been really on this journey of self-discovery in a huge way over the last 10 years. Started doing psychic medium work about 10 years ago and just learning how to use those skills for good.
Well,
Yeah, and there's so many ways that we can use those skills. And, for me, helping myself to listen to my own inner guidance and to trust that, but then to also use that to support and facilitate others on their journey as they awaken, bringing in clear and very specific guidance to support others. But it always comes back to being in our hearts. So when I think of sovereignty, I think about standing with myself, standing with God, and staying in my heart. And if I could give 3 beautiful tips just on that, that would be it. Stay in your heart, stay in your truth, and stand with God. And a lot of that also is a big precursor to one thing that's very important to me. It's authenticity. So when I think about spiritual sovereignty, I also think about us being in our authenticity, releasing the programs, releasing the things that society has taught us we have to be or look like or do in order to be successful, or, to have certain things in this lifetime. And so what is authenticity to you? Who is your authentic self? And how can you align deeper and deeper to that? That's a journey for all of us, to know ourselves from the inside out and to be aligned with that authenticity. And I just know also that every day is a choice. It's a choice to either stay in your heart and stay aligned with you and your own truth, or to spin out and get, caught up in what's going on in the outer world, in conversations or conflict within friends and family. And we get to choose to stay in our hearts in those things. So that would be, like I said, my biggest lesson that I've learned myself. And, it's not that we ignore what's going on around us, as people also are on their own journey. But I've also learned that spiritual sovereignty is about non-judgment. And how can I stay in that state of divine neutrality, where I can care, but I don't have to carry others.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, thank
So
you.
those are some of my huge
Those are great
bullet points today. Yeah.
Thank you. And we're going to be hearing a lot more from Krista. As co-host, she's going to be monitoring what's happening in the chat box. And already there's some really beautiful comments. I like what Jeffrey wrote. Think of the 3 Ps: pursuit my passion with purpose. Allow my pursuit of my levolution to flow from my divine nature. So that's a beautiful example. And Krista's going to be kind of checking and reading. So you'll all be interacting with her. Our other co-host is a big part of Soul Search. And of course, Soul Search is been kind of our collaborative partner for the weekend. And it's Nicole. She's back. Hello, Nicole.
Woo! Hi, everybody. So happy to be here. Hi, Scott.
Well, here we go again. Let me, for anybody who doesn't know Nicole, I guess, share a little bit about her. I've had the good fortune to get to know her because I was in Sedona. She's done a few shows with us now. And she is also a lot of things. I experience you, Nicole, as being kind of this wonderful combination of entrepreneur, spiritual leader, and just lover of humanity. And she's very, very involved with Soul Search. And she designs and leads multidimensional experiences, retreats, and curriculum. And she's going to be a big part of our Global Peace Tribe retreat. And then you're going to hear about another amazing retreat that she and Krista, who you just met, are doing. So it's great to have you with us, Nicole. And same question that we're asking everybody: what does spiritual sovereignty mean to you, and what would be some of your tips?
Thank you so much, Scott. Yes, lover of humanity. And I actually, when you said that, I'm like, that is so true. I just truly want people to be free of their ego, free of the projections that others place and that they place. So I feel like for me, spiritual sovereignty happens through the awakening process, through the realization and the understanding of your own ego, the releasing of the ego. And this is something that I think that we get to dance with a lot in our whole lives. So when we are able to release the ego programming, and the programming is beyond the ego, it's actually also, going on outside in the outside world, the old paradigm programming, all of these things, once we become friends with and recognize with an awareness inside of our own body and inside of our own heart and mind, that many of the stories and patterns and behaviors that we've experienced in our lives are actually due to our ego and our programming, we can actually become sovereign and free. And it's a beautiful experience to be able to come back into the oneness, into the love, into the tenderness of source consciousness. And to me, that's spiritual sovereignty. And to know when you're in outside circumstances of another, you can become a sacred witness of their process without taking it on, without making it about you, without creating and generating a whole nother ego story that you then later have to sift and uncover through. That really feels like spiritual freedom, when you can stand in your own sovereign being and know that all is well, no matter what is going on around you. I feel like that's true spiritual sovereignty. And as far as a tool or a tip, it really is. I've learned to put sacred space around things, and I still get into I'm a busy bee, and I still get into, sometimes allowing myself to become so busy that I remember, oh wait, I'm not putting enough spaciousness around my experiences in my life. So that's one thing, is spaciousness gives you the opportunity to become the observer. And then asking really good questions. Is this true? And also, when you find the trigger that you're triggered by another, or by an experience, or by work, or your beloved, or whatever, asking where inside of me where do I feel this? Really tuning into your body. Where am I feeling this in my body? What's coming up for me? What's underneath this? And then you become your own investigator, your own private eye, and it can become a fun and playful, curious experience instead of a painful, exhausting, challenging experience. So yeah, so space and curiosity, the questions, and allowing, and then if you're in a circumstance where someone else is going through that, holding a sacred space of love, holding them with your heart open, being in your heart as you witness them. I really learned, I was blessed to be able to be in a lot of women's circle groups where I learned to consciously witness. And I didn't really know that before. Maybe over the last 5 years, I've really woken up to healing my mother, my father wounds, my sister wounds, my friend wounds. I'm working on the beloved wounds, right now. So, this is a process that is generative, and it goes deep, and it continues, and to know that it is a process, and to be kind and compassionate to yourself. So the sacred witness, bringing that sacred witness in for yourself and for others. And what that really means is being with whatever's coming up with your heart open, not necessarily. I feel like we're moving out of the age of where, we're coaching and we're always giving advice. Well, you should do this and you should do that. And, I'm seeing this for you, and actually asking and allowing the space to allow that information to come up through them, because you're a source channel and so are they. And remembering that and holding them in that God source channel of love that they are, because we are all equal and we all have the right to be sovereign and free. So if we can hold people in that energy and that consciousness as we walk around, that's how we continue to attain that sovereignty and freedom. Thank you, Scott.
Yeah, thank you. Beautiful. And it is true. I love, there's a great quote: you cannot teach anybody anything. You can only help them learn or to
Yes.
find it, within themselves.
Yeah.
Now, as the one of the most important partners in Soul Search. I would love if you would be willing to introduce each of the other three guests that we have today, and each guest, same question, a few minutes on spiritual sovereignty. Yeah.
I would love to do that. I'll start with Miss Aurora. Aurora is, I have actually had the blessing and the opportunity to work with Aurora, both me sharing my gifts and her sharing her gifts with me. And she's an incredible spirit channel. She's truly an alchemist. I see her as an alchemist of sound, of vibration, of frequency, of light. And she channels all types of divine energies and beings. One time she took me through a Merkaba activation, and I was traveling in the inner earth. I mean, she is really an incredible purveyor of frequency and activations and DNA upgrades. And she works through the language of light, through frequency, and her sound journeys are absolutely delicious. And she's also an incredible coach. She does receive divine guidance and a knowing. And so I've been able to experience all of those sides of her, which is why she's part of our 1111 event as well. And working with her in Platinum, she is committed. She shows up. She's a business boss, badass. And I love her.
Oh, thank you for that beautiful introduction, Nicole. And I love that you know me, so it wasn't even like you were reading a script, which is even more fun. Thank you everyone for being here. It's really, I'm grateful to Scott and this platform and to Soul Search and everyone, just really, really magical. So thank you. Wow, sovereign is such a powerful topic, and I would imagine that all of us are going to have some similar answers around this, because I would take some of what Krista said, I would take some of what Nicole said. This authentic piece is so potent and powerful. Like Nicole was just saying, the consciousness that we have has kind of been glommed onto us, right? Because we're divine beings of light in my awareness. And yet society and our families and religions and all kinds of energies want to put a box around everything so that it can be identified and people can feel comfortable, right? If there's all these kinds of restrictions and rules and identities, then, you know, everything's comfortable. But once you take that restriction away, you're free to be whomever and whatever you desire to be. And as we can see and watch that happening in the society around us, it's very uncomfortable for people to start using different pronouns and to express who they are and how they're walking in the world. And so it's really amazing that as we call in that authentic nature of who we are, and as we decide to walk the world as that being, whatever that means for each one of us, that we can do a few things. One, we can mind our own business because what everybody else is doing doesn't matter. Can honor the light in each person and allow them to be free to be who they are, because we're choosing our own freedom. So we don't have the need to judge anymore. We don't have the need to identify them or place them in a box, because we've stepped out of our own box. So suddenly now we even get to lead by example with that sovereign energy and feel empowered. Like that's, to me, sovereignty is not just walking your truth in your talk and choosing how you want to show up in the world. It's this energy of authenticity where you're able to really navigate your life on your own terms and really love everyone for who they are, the way they are. I would say that's one of the biggest. It was funny, I couldn't decide which show to do, either Friday or Sunday, because part of the topic there was even, you know, what it means to step out of that box. I was raised in a very strict religious household. And gratefully, my family did not choose to disown me, even though my hair is pink and I've got lots of tattoos. And I now honor all ascendeds, right? All ascended beings, all galactic beings, all angelic beings, because to me, that's all source frequency. It's all God, it's all universe, multiverse, it's all one. So I feel that it comes back to the awareness that there's nothing outside of ourselves. It's all us walking around as the universe, as source, as sovereign. And again, when we choose it for ourselves, it becomes very easy to allow everyone around us to be who they are and just love them.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Aurora. That was lovely.
Thank you, Scott.
Yeah. And we'll be hearing more from Aurora and from everybody, but I'm going to go back to Nicole to introduce our next guest.
All right. So I'm going to choose Lori Wheeler next. My sweet sister who is going to come to Sedona very soon here tomorrow. I have the pleasure of working with Lori in both our platinum program, which I just want to share this quickly about Soul Search, is that my dream for platinum was that we would be able to co-create with high-level leaders, and that they would all just naturally want to collaborate and meet each other and befriend each other. And so Lori is an example of this. We're working together in different ways, and she's coming to Sedona, and we get to spend sacred time together. So she's actually an expression of this dream coming true for me. So thank you, Lori. And she is super, super gifted and talented and intelligent. She has not only incredible spiritual gifts, so she takes people on soul regression and retrieval. She's a medical intuitive. She's a shamanic practitioner. She's also a homeopath. So she really bridges the traditional and the medical and the spiritual and the traditional and the new age. She's an incredible bridge. I see her as a bridge, and she works with her clients and she takes them wherever they need to go. And she's also, what I've learned about her in our discovery process is she is such a stand for her clients. Like, she holds such a frequency of an energy of love, and like, I'm here for you. I got you no matter what. So she's like fierce. She's a fierce practitioner of love. She's also a teacher and a speaker, and she supports her husband in his really beautiful endeavors as well. So she's doing a lot. She's a creative and a teacher, and she's doing a really cool project with children as well. So I don't know how she finds time to do all of this. She lives in Colorado. She's in a sacred divine union. And I am just so excited to have her in my life because she's a beautiful, shining soul. Oh, and before she's also the owner of Wellness Within, which is her holistic practitioner path. So thank you, Lori. Love you, sister.
Oh, wow. Thank you, Nicole. And thank you, everyone, for being here and just co-creating as we go along in this journey together, and today, and for Scott and your beautiful foresight for doing this. So it's wonderful to be a part of Soul Search also, and to connect with as many sisters. I don't have any sisters, so it's quite a collaboration, and I really appreciate it, getting to know everyone. And that was a beautiful intro. Thank you. It makes me feel so humble. You know, as I think about what it is to be sovereign, it's quite a question. And I think we need to ask ourselves that from time to time, because maybe it changes as we go along in life. I know where I am today is different than when I came into the world. And although I've been on this path since I literally can remember at 5, beginning my channeling and hearing and following, even when it wasn't conducive for me, or when I felt it wasn't something I really wanted to do, or my brain thought, well, what am I doing that for? I knew enough, even at the age of 5, that there was this deep knowing to follow that which knew better than I did, right? And still I feel that way today. So it's an unfolding of, and I love what everybody has said, it's kind of hard to find little pieces within, maybe as an expression different than how it's been already said, but experiencing the self fully. And so we come in with this ego, and there's a lot in the ego. working with past life and between lives and future progressive soul regression. And as a homeopath, I find I get to experience a lot through the eyes of others. And I get an opportunity to hear their story and how they view it. And of course, it's all coming through the ego, but that I find drives us, many of us, to move forward more into what we really desire, because we have this knowing within us. So it's connecting with our self, our expression, our soulful expression, and our blueprint, and emerging of the shadow side, but the shadow side to give us the oomph to move forward and move out of what doesn't work when we come to realize that. And that's at different points in our lives. And some may never recognize that, as there are different, and I don't love this word, but it is a human word, levels of understanding, as there are different levels of soul and their experience. And so many of us here right now, we are older souls, wiser souls, but there are so many on the earth right now that have come as real young souls, and I call it sex, drugs, and rock and roll. So you know what I'm talking about when you meet them or when you're around them. So they have a great experience of the shadow side to walk through. I think there are those of us that really understand what that is, and we recognize it when we're experiencing it. And then it's a conscious effort to just move out of it. So, and sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. But that's stepping into our power. And when we do, this most magnificent experience of freedom comes over us. And we begin to really understand ourselves more, to know we have the power of that consciousness and to make that choice, and to experience at that deep level of who we really are, the magnificent souls we really are. I know Mother Mary says, if you only knew who you really are. And she's right. She's absolutely right. How much you are loved, how much we are all loved through this divine connection. I think it also entails being accountable. I find so much of lack of accountability. We want to play the blame game, and I can find myself wanting to do that too. And that makes me aware that I'm stepping out of my power and I'm giving it away. And when you stop and think about it for a moment, I had a great experience in Sedona one day. I was taking a walk, and I was on this trip, hiking trip, and this tree spoke out to me and said, come lean against me. And often it's a tree that talks or something. I leaned up against it, and she said, and this experience I was having, this gentleman was taking us off the back path, and it was not a good thing, and I knew it wasn't, and didn't feel right. But she said, and I was getting agitated, and she said, are you going to let him take your power? And it was like, I get it. Thank you for reminding me. So for me, that's how I experience sovereignty.
Beautiful. Well, how wonderful to meet you. First time you're on our show, and hopefully I'm certainly not the last. And again, everyone I meet through Soul Search is amazing. So thank you for sharing, Lori, and look forward to hearing a little bit more. And we'll go back to Nicole to introduce our final guest for the day.
Last but certainly not least is our beautiful Dr. Peyton Tons. I just love Peyton, her energy. She always shows up, like she's always so present. I feel like that's what I feel from you, Peyton. And we're still getting to know each other on a deeper level, but you are so incredibly present and open. And she is an integrative psychotherapist. She's a scholar, a teacher, and a healer. And kind of like Lori, she bridges two different things. She bridges sort of the Eastern and Western philosophy. And she has her own, she's a licensed marriage and family therapist in both California and Arizona. And she kind of takes, and she lives here in Sedona. So she kind of takes those two sides and bridges them together in the like a depth of psychology in her practice. So she bridges neuroscience, neurobiology, quantum field theory, and self-mastery through self-knowledge, psychological healing. And she is here to liberate people from the conditioning. And so, Peyton, thank you so much for being here, beautiful sister.
Hi, thank you. Wow, it's just such an honor to be here and to be a part of this amazing group of beings. And this topic is it's sort of the most exciting to me, I guess. I mean, I think it's kind of the center of it all, right? The real integration of where the rubber meets the road in our development. Yeah, so, and I also think it's just beautiful, the kaleidoscope of each of us answering this question is actually a beautiful representation of real divine sovereignty, right? That it's each of us is expressing this in our own unique way, and yet you can see the sameness really in the underlying message. And so for me, in my constellation of this, I think the thing that speaks the loudest is that it's that claiming of our authority on truth, right? So it's claiming that we have that power to discern between what's true and what's false. And that applies to every layer of our experience. So from the inner layers of within ourselves to to the outer world and to all of our interfacing with life and relationships, and in terms of even, the wider scope of what's happening in the world. And so that when we build this muscle, this strengthen, this wielding the sword of discernment to cut through the jungle of falsity, right, that we have been born into here. I was just thinking about the metaphor of, there's so much falsity there's so much falsity in this world, and that we inherited and internalized, that it's like a machete. It's like cutting through, like a thick forest, a jungle with a machete, to clarify, what is false and what is real, and claim the real and believe in ourselves. And yeah, it's very powerful. And I think we're all, us here, know that we've those of us that have been blessed with coming into this world with a strong inner sense of that truth, that we've carried something into this life that's intact. That's such a blessing. That's been my experience. I think from the time I was 7, I knew that I was here on a mission to save the earth, and then had a powerful awakening at 19, which was just a moment of seeing the nature of reality, the non-dual nature, the oneness. And so for me, that I feel that, that was such an act of grace, and the experience was undeniable seeing of truth. And so I had that direct experience at that young age, which, it was such a powerful knowingness, an undoubtable knowingness that I knew what I was perceiving was real. But the other really interesting part of it was that because there's such a ingrained stigma around it being, blasphemous, or like, who do you think you are that you could think you know what's true? You know, like all that imprinting information, that I almost felt ashamed in some way of the fact that I had this claim, that I had this authority, that I knew. So it's been a journey to really come out into the world and to be standing in that authority now more fully. So yeah, I think that if I was going to offer any specific tool to people, this act consciously of claiming the authority, I think is actually a choice. It is an ongoing process, but I think that that's really key for those that we're supporting to step into this and within ourselves. So thank you. That's
Hayden, thank you. And I want to actually, you said a couple things that I want to riff on and open up to our audience. First off, just how many of us have felt that I'm here for a reason. I'm here for part of this big event that humanity is going through. And I think that's probably true for probably all of our presenters and probably most of the people watching, and certainly most people that are in our Zoom room that are kind of our regulars. So anybody who wants to comment on that, please do. The other thing, Peyton, that you brought up is I've observed that most people, whatever religion, especially if it had a dogma they grew up with, they broke away from. The fortunate one, which was wise, because we recognized the hypocrisy or the dogma or the fanaticism. The lucky people are people like yourself who had a spiritual awakening and maybe left the original religion that maybe your parents raised you with, but then found your own spiritual journey. But what's sad are people that haven't found that spiritual practice, the people that, and I find this is especially true with men. Most women have found their spiritual way, but a lot of men stayed in a state of spiritual equals religion and religion equals bullshit. And therefore they've kind of thrown the baby out with the bathwater. And I'm just curious to you personally, since you kind of stimulated this thought, and definitely to our audience, if anybody in our audience has thoughts about that. Have you observed that to be the case, Peyton?
in terms of men in specific?
Yeah. Well, people who haven't found a spiritual practice, and often it does tend to be men. But have you noticed that in your work?
Yeah, I've definitely experienced that there's a lot of confusion. There's layers upon layers upon layers upon layers of confusion. And that it's definitely, there's a process that people have to go through. But I think like what Nicole said really resonates, that the best we can do to support people and each other is to continue to hold the space and reflect and model for people, right? What it's like to trust themselves and that they have that capacity. And I think there's lots of little things that people can do to help support them building that muscle in themselves. But I think that the love and the reflection and the modeling from us, from those that are, that are holding this frequency or this way of being is helpful to people for sure.
Yeah.
And I think that we're creating a spirituality that's generic, right? That's, I think, like generic truth, universal truth. And I think that the more we can articulate that, and that's actually really what I'm trying to do in my work, is really create a language, how do we just all vibe into something that is based in our own experience and is non-religious, non-denominational. It's just universal truth.
Beautiful. Yes. A big yes. May we get to that place. May we get to that place soon. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to hear more from Peyton. And we're in a moment, Krista's going to share some of the comments coming in. So please, everybody, pop into the chat box your comments because we want to hear from you. And I do want to, we're kind of a little bit more than halfway through the show. I definitely want to let everybody know again, the good news. We are going to have the very first Global Peace Tribe Retreat. And I just put the link where you can register into the chat box. And I'm going to talk a little bit about it. It's happening. And it's happening in Sedona, Arizona, where almost all of these wonderful women that you've been meeting today and throughout the weekend, most of them are in Sedona, they're Sedona based. And it's going to be a really, really fun, amazing time. It's going to be October 21st through the 24th. And I'll put on the screen right now just our agenda. Now, if any of you arrive early on Thursday night, join us. We're going to have drinks and dinner and connection time. And then every day there'll be optional morning movement, yoga, meditation. We'll all have breakfast together. And then on Friday, there are going to be morning and afternoon workshops with some of the women that, or some of the people, I should say, that you've been meeting all weekend, the Soul Search luminaries. So you're going to get a chance to have play shops with people like Nicole and Krista and Peyton and all these amazing beings that you're meeting, Aurora, Lori, going deeper, experiencing them on a deeper level. And then we'll always have all three meals together, breakfast, lunch, dinner. And we're going to be doing meals at different locations all over Sedona. There's so many great restaurants there. So a lot of social time and then concerts. And we're kind of deciding which musicians are going to be with us, but definitely Omashar will be with us. So we'll have at least one Omashar concert. And then on Saturday, there's going to be a psychic fair all day long in Sedona. So people can go to the psychic fair, they can go to the workshops that we'll be providing, or they can go out on to the land, to the vortex and the power spots. And we'll have people that you can do that. You can do land journeys with. There was a gentleman who was on our show last night, Brandon, who leads land journeys that people got excited about going with. And every night there's going to be a concert with one of your favorite musical artists that you've seen on the Global Peace Tribe. And then on Sunday, there's an all-day music festival taking place. And again, there'll be options to hang out, social time, doing all the meals together, going to the concerts, and then a big evening event. And then on Monday, we're going to go really, really deep. I'm bringing in some of my best love coaches, and we're going to have powerful workshops, really learning the tools of awakening and some of the best tools that I teach of compassionate communication and emotional intelligence skill building. And then a final big dinner together, and then a big final concert. And all of this for only $295. Now, that does not include food and lodging. We will provide, we're all going to meet at different restaurants, and we'll provide you lodging options. So what we're going to do is there's a lot of different possibilities. Some of you may come out in your own RV or your own camper van. Some of you may want to stay in your own hotel or your own Airbnb right there in Sedona. Some of you might want to participate. We're going to get a couple of large houses and do Global Peace Tribe dorms, right? Where we'll have large houses and people staying in rooms in those houses. And there's also less expensive lodging in Camp Verde and some of the surrounding areas that are like maybe 20, 30 minutes away. We recognize some of you are going to drive in and you're going to have cars. Some of you are going to fly into Phoenix and we will provide shuttle service for you. So we're going to be coordinating all of that. We want to make it as easy as possible, but definitely register. And I'm going to extend it for one more day. On both Friday night and Saturday, I announced that people who register each day, so I'll make it today as well, I will buy you dinner when you come to Sedona. You can pick which of the dinners and I'll pay for your dinner. And we've had 9 people take advantage of that so far. So if you register today, you'll get dinner with and paid for by Scott. And that's going to be kind of fun. And that's the whole point, is we're really going to finally get a chance to meet each other. We're going to go very, very deep. It's going to be an amazing time. For any of you who don't know Sedona, it's an incredibly magical place. Going back way before white people were here, it's where the indigenous people went to have their vision quests. It's where magic happens. And that's why so many amazing people like Aurora and Nicole and the people you're meeting live in Sedona, because it's a magical place. And it's a place where awakening is happening in a big way. So it's a perfect place for the Global Peace Tribe and our awakening world for us to have our first gathering. So definitely please join us. It's going to be fantastic. And if you have any questions, feel free to send me a Facebook private message, or you can email me. All of you have my email address because you're all part of the Zoom room. And if you're watching on Facebook and you've got, and you're wondering, you can just find me on Facebook Messenger. I'm the only Scott Thomas on the planet. Or you can email me at my initials, sc@lovecoachscott.com. sc@lovecoachscott.com. All right, I'm going to go to our co-host Krista, who's been monitoring the chat box to share what's going on there. Hey, Krista. I'm adding.
Hello, all right. Scott, so excited about this first retreat. I'm actually going to be in Sedona at that time, so count on me attending.
Attending, you're going to be teaching. You're going to be a big part of the show.
Attending and teaching, all the above. Yeah, and it looks like we just have a lot of support for this event, and all of us coming together in community, because together we rise, right? So very excited to support this event in any way I can. So many beautiful comments in the chat. And I just want to encourage anyone that has comments or questions about this incredible topic today to add that in. But just going back, Jeffrey talking about balance and the importance of balance in order to be sovereign, and that the ego is the best teacher. So thank you for that contribution today, Jeffrey. Eleanor Joy sharing that nature wants to speak to us. And how do we hear from nature? We hear, like she says, when we're just still and we listen. And I love that also, Eleanor, this year, the word that came in for my word for 2022 is listen. So that resonates with me very deeply. Thank you. Oma Shar sharing that we are all sovereign and free. Yes, thank you. In that we step into our sovereignty and authenticity. And, I also want to just say, all of the contributions, whether they've been verbal here by our speakers and contributors, or if they've been coming in through the written word in the chat box, they are all activating our hearts, our DNA. So however you've contributed today, and just with your presence, we are all in this together, connecting through this human heart grid. So that's just so spiritual and beautiful for us to be connected here. And the frequencies and the God bumps, I heard someone say that in the chat as well. So I was definitely feeling that as everyone was speaking. And also George talking about how the plants and the rocks speak to him. So it's definitely a topic. I know Eleanor was talking about nature. So I also just want to bring that forward, that, when we connect in nature, we really can connect to our own sovereignty because of that connection. The same intelligence that lives within every plant and everything on this planet is the same intelligence that lives within us. So, and I'm just seeing more. I speak to my trees. Thank you, Terry. Yes. So they speak back to us, right? And the weevolution drives our lovevolution. Beautiful. So thank you so much. And Nicole sounds like she wants to participate in the play shop, Scott. How exciting. And I know that she definitely brought a lot of play to her retreat last year in 2021. So she's an expert in that area, and I love and adore that about her. So thank you, everyone. And I'll keep watching the chat.
Great. Thank you, Krista. I'm going to keep you on for a moment, Nicole, because the next round of conversation that I want us to have about spiritual sovereignty is honoring and respecting other people's spiritual sovereignty. We were talking about this before the show started today. And it breaks my heart seeing this country of the United States is in a social media civil war, and the lack of tolerance for other people's thoughts and beliefs And so I would love to hear first you, and then from some of our other presenters, tools, practices, maybe even personal experiences of learning how to accept and even honor and celebrate other people's spiritual beliefs, spiritual sovereignty. And I'll start with you, Nicole.
Thank you, Scott. That is actually really one of the biggest keys to anchoring in this great awakening, this new paradigm of heaven on earth. It is to know that we are both connected to all things and everything, and the inside and the outside. And I've definitely been in my spiritual awakening over the last few years. I've had, multiple layers of it, but very much so here in Sedona. And I was just thinking about, I just did a speech on Thursday, and I started in a way that was so highly like stretching myself and uncomfortable. I actually I started by dancing, by getting embodied and dancing on stage. And I had everyone in the audience stand up and dance with me and do their light language hands. And I just went into that full channel energy of the love and the play and the bliss that I am in front of everyone. And then I started my speech by speaking to the fact that I would have never done this even 2 or 3 years ago. And I say that to one of the things I've learned here in Sedona is through all of the different channels of energy and through the ecstatic dances on the red rocks and the sound healings and the journeys and watching people step into their highest expression and be exactly who they're meant to be in that moment. And it's just full permission, and I think that's what's really come through living here in Sedona is been the permission to fully be myself in all the ways. And what that does is it gives others permission to do the same. And so I think I would start with that. Is just as we walk through life, could we remember to be permission for one another, and also knowing that we are all on different points of our journey. Just when we think we've got something down, we are humbled by the ego. We are humbled. We are brought to our knees by something that happens in our lives, or something that we witness happening for another that we don't necessarily have that answer to for them, but we can hold them in divine grace and also trust that they have the tools to find their way. We're actually stepping out of an age of maybe many lifetimes, many ages of codependency. So we're stepping out of that codependency into sovereignty. And that means, I've been in like a sharing circle, and then somebody gets emotive and starts to cry, and our natural reaction is to put our hand on them and to comfort them. And I've learned not to do that. I've learned to allow whatever it is to come up so that it can fully be released, so that it can fully be seen. So rather than stepping in with our energy to assert our knowing upon another, I think one of the best things that we can do is hold them as sovereign, hold the other as a sovereign being. And like someone, I think Peyton said, just all of you said amazing things, just being the example of that. That is how we can lead as light leaders, as teachers. We are stepping out of the age of the guru into the age of the Yuru, and into the age, like literally seeing everyone as what I've really learned in Soul Search has been every single one of these beautiful divine souls has an incredible light, has an incredible gift, and has a beautiful sacred frequency fingerprint, blueprint, snowflake that is just them. And if we can step out of the judgment, the judgment mind is what that's the part of the ego that really we're so ready. We so want to release, and it still comes up, we're human. But when we notice that judgment voice, when we notice that ego taking over and making a story, just really getting curious and asking, like, what in me is showing up right now? Is my little girl needing my own attention? I often will place my hand on my heart and my womb as a woman. I know that's an area that I just connect the heart and the womb. And for the man, the masculine, it's the dantian. But like, I'll feel in my body, is this coming up in my power center? I'll put my hand there. I'll say, oh, this is triggering my ego of when I felt like I wasn't important, like I wasn't enough. Oh, this is coming in my heart, this is where I felt betrayed, not loved, not seen, so I will literally use my body as a tuning fork to what's going on. And I think if we could teach people that they are an instrument, that we have our own amazing, our bodies are amazing. Like, there is a vibration and a resonance of what is true. And if we, like somebody was saying about, it's a muscle. This is a muscle. This is also a muscle, to be able to feel what is going on inside of you and take ownership and responsibility for that discovery process. And then as we do that, we literally give people permission and also a vibrational permission to be that. So I really feel that it is us taking our own self-discovery and our own responsibility for our own inner and outer work. And that is how we support others to do the same.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Nicole. That was a lot of really good tools there. I'm going to go to each of our guests one more time so we can hear from them. And I'm going to go to Aurora. Hi, Aurora. One of the things I wanted to ask you was, I know that you came out of the corporate world. And so now that you're a Sedona goddess, pink hair, channeling God, connecting to the multidimensional realms, how do you relate to and hold in your heart of love? Because I know you're a very loving person. Those beings from the past life you were in, that are still in that world, that are still in the matrix, if you will. How do you balance that out?
Thank you for that question, Scott. It's really powerful, because what's funny is, as I'm co-creating my own show called The Infinite Soul, I share with all the guests that are going to be on my show that we really have to remain divinely neutral in a lot of our topics. Because on my Facebook friends, I have Harley bikers. I have people who have voted for all sides, believe in all things around COVID and vaccinations, all things around conspiracy, all things around everything that's going on the planet. All of them feel safe in my field because I don't confront them and I don't ask them to be anything that they're not. I may try to ask for a frequency of compassion from some people when I feel like the energy is very you and not me. And sometimes that works, and sometimes I don't even say it because I know they can't even receive that. Right? So my awareness is that if I just hold the frequency of love for all, then it really, again, it doesn't matter what they believe, who they are, what they think. I love everyone. I'm not yet Amma. That's one of my goals. It's to be just like Amma, to be able to hug everyone and love everyone. It's not that I'm not human or have my own triggers. I promise I do. Actually, fun story, dog park story recently. For people who work with me, they know that the dog park is my biggest classroom on this planet to come back into compassion, love, and alignment. Whenever someone brings in an unfixed male into the dog park, I get very easily triggered because I have a 96-pound wolf dog that I have to be responsible for. And he's always reactive to that. And I had a confrontation with this young man 2 days ago. And I was actually talking to a client yesterday that I was calling him back into my field because I wanted to not only apologize to him, I wanted him to feel safe in my presence. I saw him this morning. I apologized. He definitely doesn't feel safe in my presence in this moment, but we're going to see each other again because I'm calling him back. Right? So we're all going to be human. We're all going to get triggered by what we experience in the outside world. But there's a reason why we connect with one another, because of course we all come from that one source, whatever that means. Again, we're used to identifying people as, well, that's you and not me. But if we have to judge it, we're not loving it. And generally when we're judging someone, it's within us too, right? Oh, well, that person said that thing or did that thing, and I would never do that. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe you're not identifying how you're showing up with that same frequency in a different way, which is okay. Again, we're all having this various human experience. And love, like Krista said at the very beginning of this call, love is our way through our sovereign energy. The more energy that we can hold of love frequency, and like everyone has said so far, Lori has touched on it, and Peyton, and also Nicole, like if we can be the example and if we can show up as an authentic self, then we have this opportunity to just let everyone be who they are. There's no need to judge. There's no need to worry. I mean, again, at the beginning of my spiritual journey, I remember desiring everyone to be like, oh my gosh, but if you just do this, you won't have anxiety anymore, or you'll be able to shift your relationships. I wanted to tell everyone how to become spiritual and live their lives, because it changed my life to obviously a 180. I'm definitely don't look corporate anymore.
Aurora, thank you for those beautiful tips. I'm going to give a tip that you made me think of, help me to remember. When I see someone that I'm judging, and I still have judgmental thoughts all the time, what's really helpful is to think one of two things. Either I'm going to choose Donald Trump because he's a person that can trigger certain people. And I personally don't relate to many of his ways of thinking or values. So I can either look at Donald Trump and I can think, oh, there's God fully experiencing itself as Donald Trump. Or if I really want to go for it, there I am fully experiencing myself as Donald Trump. And you do that with Joe Biden, pick whoever triggers you. And I'm not making a political statement here. The point that I'm making is that when we recognize that, remember that it's all one incredible unified field of consciousness, experiencing itself as everything from the trees to the ants to Aurora to whomever, just dropping into that consciousness and remembering that and taking it out of right, wrong, good, bad, but just what if life, existence, God, if you want to call it God, wants to experience everything it can possibly imagine, right? And that there ultimately isn't good or bad or right or wrong, but just full possible experience. And that helps me to remember, helps me to drop into that.
It's the perfect tool. It's quantum thinking, right? So quantum thinking tells us that there is no right or wrong, and that if we can actually step outside of right and wrong, we're creating possibility. And right, so we stepped out of the duality into possibility, and now anything can happen. So it's exactly that. It's exactly that, Scott. Thank you.
Well, thank you. I'm a big fan of you, Aurora. And I want to let people know that she has a lot of offerings. Now you can find her, I popped it into the chat box a moment ago. Her website is her name, Aurora Luna Star, auroralunastar.com. And Aurora, what are you offering? Where would you like me to go on your website?
So if we go into retreats, into the first drop down, Nope, sorry, one above.
Spirit activation. There we go.
That's okay.
It should be coming up. It's coming. There we go. You've got something really cool coming up. Tell us about it.
So this 3-day sound activation retreat is really exciting. It's one of my first largest and live events that I'll also be live streaming. So my favorite part about this event is no matter where you are in the world, you can join us. And for 3 days, I'll be channeling frequencies, first of Gaia, because it will be on the autumnal equinox, so on September 22nd. I'll be channeling earth frequencies. On the second day, I'll be channeling angelic frequencies. And on the third day, I'll be channeling star frequencies. And I've got also some powerful divine masculine who will be walking in to be of service as well. My friend Jacob is going to be present with us as we do some breath work and body work as well, so that we keep a balance with this very esoteric, etheric energy of sound healing, and then having to come back in our bodies and get in cars and make sure that we're still on planet Earth. So I'm just super excited that everything that comes through me is a channel, and it's always for the highest of all concerned. And so as I channel these frequencies, it's meant to help us with our cellular structure. It's meant to help us with our next octave of our growth through our ascension or evolution into our heart, into purpose, into living our best life. And I'm really super excited to be sharing it with everyone.
Beautiful. And of course, it's live for people in Sedona, but also people can live stream into it.
Absolutely. And everyone who comes or gets the live stream will also get the recording.
Great.
So no matter what you do, you have it to experience anytime. If you feel like you're having a difficult day and there was some part of that series that aligned with you that you want to experience again, you can. And also, even if you can't experience it through those 3 days, you can get the live stream, which will give you the recordings, and then you can have that forever as well.
Beautiful, beautiful. And I see that Nicole put in the chat box that Jacob is amazing. And he is. I met him initially at your dinner party.
Yes.
And then I met him a couple of times after that. And he is a really beautiful, beautiful brother. Yes. So I'm glad that Jacob's going to be part of that too. So that sounds wonderful. That sounds really, really good. And I'm looking forward to seeing you when I come back to Sedona. And you're going to be a big part of our retreat. I know that, Aurora.
Oh, absolutely. I'd be honored.
Great. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you.
I'm going to go to Lori Wheeler next. And Lori, it's so good to meet you. Again, you're kind of new for me. I hadn't met you before, but I'd love for you to share anything that has come up for you in today's conversation. Anything that you'd like to riff on or thoughts you've had that you'd like to share with the audience.
Well, thank you, Scott. And it's been such an honor, a privilege, and actually such a great learning and sitting amongst everyone who has such wonderful experience and knowledge. So what came up for me, I just want to tell a little story. About 10 years ago, I was invited down to, I lived in Mexico at the time, and we were invited to a school that had rival gangs. And what was interesting with these rival gangs, now these were high school kids, maybe 15 to 17 years old. You know, what my takeaway was, they didn't even know what they were fighting about. They were just fighting. And my understanding in speaking to the school authorities was that this went back hundreds of years between their own families. And so what my thought is that they were just carrying on something that, if you put it aside, what would you be arguing about? You're just young people and enjoy your life together, right? So I did a shamanic journey with all 80 kids in a high school arena, laying down on top of one another, having fun. I do not speak fluent Spanish. My husband translated, he speaks fluent Spanish, but we were having a good time connecting. And I thought that was very important to connect with the kids at that level, at their level. What my intention, and always starting a shamanic journey and calling in the powers that are working through all of us, everyone there, was they know better than what my brain knows to do. So allow them to do their thing, just facilitating. And what was awesome, this is a Christian-based background, Mexican people, but they're very open to the ancient ways too. And so what was interesting, after everybody quieted and went into the journey, the intention was to allow them to release what it is that they're holding, why they're holding, stop blaming, let's let go, let's be free of judgment so we can experience who we are at a greater level. And what was awesome was Jesus showed up. And Jesus walked down the center of the aisle, speaking to each of these children and sharing the information that he would share in his loving, beautiful, divine way. And when we were finished, the children, or I don't want to call them kids, they came together and they wanted to know, well, first of all, they loved it, but that they were wanting to know the magic that really occurred in all of that. And how is it that they now feel different and didn't feel as angry as they did before? So, you know, when I just want to circle this back around, I believe that this is really a part of becoming sovereign, no matter who we are, no matter what age our learning is, and bringing in, as you said, Aurora, you know, the realm of possibility. You know, when doing it, who knew what was really going to happen? I didn't. I wasn't in charge of that. I just left it to the powers that be and what the intention was that we were all coming together for. So I think this is important for us to really understand that it can take place in so many different ways, and it's all our learning experience. So, and I wrote a book about that entitled, "Oh No, Not Another Learning Experience." And it really does touch upon so many different types and styles and ways, but it brings it all back around to self-mastery. So
Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, I just saw that again when I put your bio into the chat box. And Lori, I want to encourage people again, always to get everybody's website here. And yours is wellnesswithin.net, wellnesswithin.net. And of course, everybody always give your email address so that Lori can stay in touch with you. And you've got all sorts of wonderful things that you do, including coaching. And so just share with us a little bit about your coaching and what you enjoy supporting people with.
well, I think oftentimes people are just looking for direction. And so mine is intuitive coaching. I will receive information. It can be anywhere. I can be walking down the grocery aisle and somebody can turn to me. And I often think I have this little, you know, piece of paper on my forehead that says, please tell me what's going on with you. But I'm always happy to take the time to share, because I just feel like that's what I'm here for. I'm here to help in whatever way I can. And it's a great privilege to be able to do that. So, so that's my coaching. And then I am a homeopath, which is great mind and body medicine. And that helps us to really release our limitations, the falsehoods of what we really think we are, society, parental, wherever we get them from. You know, there's such distortions. And when somebody walks through it and magic happens, I watch change from colds to cancer, change in the body and in the mind. It's an amazing privilege to be a part of that path with people. And then I work beyond the veil. I work reading energy and bringing in information from many, many different sources of high vibration. And I name it Dream Vision, the journey of discoveries. And I've named it that because I speak a lot and work a lot with those who may not be open to some of our terminology. And so I feel it's important to dress it in a way that it presents without judgment. I'm right now working with young children in school, bringing guided meditation in for them. So that they can become empowered. Yeah, pardon?
God bless you for that work. That's really important.
Yeah, Lori, I love kids, though. Thanks.
It's great meeting you. So people, if you want coaching from Lori, either go to her local market and hope you find her with, you know, or better off, probably go to the website, and that's how you can get the coaching. Thanks, Lori. Great to have you with us. Thank you so much. I want to very quickly go to co-host Krista. She had told me that she had a hard stop at 11:30, and it's 11:30 California time. But I did want to thank you, Krista, so much for being with us today and for being a big part of Soul Search. And Krista's going to be my co-host next Saturday night. We're doing a whole show on relationships. It's going to be powerful, really hearing from some amazing relationship teachers like Gay and Katie Hendricks. But Krista, just wanted to give you a chance to say goodbye and any final thoughts.
Thank you, Scott. It's been such a pleasure to be here. And, just witnessing and participating in this conversation has activated something within me. So I hope that all of you are feeling the same today, because what Spirit is bringing through for me is that sovereignty is a frequency. So I want to leave that with all of you, just to fulfill and embody that frequency, and it's already yours. It's already done. So thank you. And I look forward to being here again next Saturday, Scott. Have a wonderful day, everybody.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Krista. Great to have you with us.
Thank you.
All right. We're going to go to Peyton and hear kind of her final thoughts. And then I'll come back to Nicole. And Nicole has something really fun to share. Actually, we're going to share a few things that are soul search oriented and they're 1111 activation oriented. But let's go to Peyton for her final thoughts today. Hi there, Peyton.
Hi. Yeah, great. Well, I have two things kind of in response to the second round discussion. The first is that, as Scott, I think you said earlier yourself, I think a powerful piece in terms of interfacing with others and respecting others' sovereignty is that the more that we are sovereign ourselves, the more that we're really in alignment and in that in any given moment, the more space and the more we're not threatened by other people's experience. So as long as another person isn't attacking us, right, directly, then we have to, protect ourselves and do what's necessary. But other than that, other than if we're being directly, an incursion upon ourselves, then there's no reason to have to, there's no problem with other people being themselves because we're not threatened by it. It doesn't take anything away from us. So I think that's a really powerful piece to that. And the second thing is language. I think Aurora ended with saying the piece about being in quantum thinking, right? So getting out of the polarized us and them, red versus blue mentality and way of thinking into the quantum field, into the higher dimensional platform, right? And I think words are huge in this, that part of this is like if we're interfacing with a person who is coming from that polarized consciousness and using language that is a part of that matrix. It's specifically, these words that are fed to us that come from think tanks, that come from, a whole reality that's been superimposed on a word like conspiracy theory or wokeness or whatever. These are all constructs. So I think it's powerful that we separate ourselves, that we use our own language. And especially when somebody is coming from that place, that we don't have to battle them or teach them or whatever, but staying in our own frequency and staying with our own language in responding authentically in the interaction is a powerful experience that that's a way that people are then invited into that. Oh yeah, like, wow, the person's like, every time we speak, every time we state anything, we're opening up a world of possibility, right? We're helping people to think differently. So yeah, those are my final thoughts. And thank you so much.
Well, thank you. And of course, I want people to know about what you're doing. And you have 3 free guided meditations. Now, again, I put into the Zoom room your link, so that's where people can find it. newparadigmpsychology.com is the main website. But tell us about these 3 free guided meditations. Again, I'm going to model it. We want to always put in email address so that we can get these goodies. Tell us about the goodies you're offering here.
Yeah, so I just published this and they're lovely. They're about 10 to 15 minute simple guided meditations, each with their own unique journey, but they're they're about just helping us in a short period of time to drop in, to downregulate the nervous system, and to connect with our divine nature, ultimately, the inner resource of who we are, and to root into that and reset and resource. So they're really lovely, actually. I think that, people will enjoy them, and they're great resources. So please sign up, anyone that's interested.
And I'll read the titles. Centering in Awareness, Building Heart Coherence, and Sensory Awareness Resourcing. Beautiful. Thank you so much, Dr. Payton, for being with us. And I look forward to seeing you in Sedona in October.
Thank you.
Well, speaking of Sedona in October, in a moment, I'm going to bring Nicole back on, and we're going to talk about a few things. In fact, actually, I'm going to bring her on right now. Where are you, Nicole? There you are. Okay. Waving furiously. Hey, so again, this is all these people you've met today are part of Soul Search. And I know that most of our audience has joined Soul Search by now, but if you haven't, soulsearch.io, soulsearch.io. And there's going to be a really cool online summit. So the weekend before the Global Peace Tribe retreat is this online summit put on by Soul Search. And look at all the amazing people that are going to be part of it. And all the people you saw today are going to be there. Payton, and actually I should say the people that you saw over the weekend. I'm looking at this group of people, and almost every single one of these people has now been on the Awakening World. They're all heroes within the Soul Search community. Tangela and Nicole and Krista and Payton and Raquel Spring and Neil Gar and Brandon, who was on last night. Dana was on last night. Lori Wheeler, who we just heard from. India, who was on this weekend. Shariah, and on and on. Every one of these beings, including myself, are going to be part of this 2-day online summit. Nicole, anything you want to add about the summit?
I'm just so excited about it. It really is a powerful group, and we're delving into the ascension of the soul, and everybody's bringing their unique perspective and their unique paradigm and lens to see through. I think it's going to be incredible. As I've gotten to know this group through Platinum, and just blown away by the caliber of all of these folks. So I think it's going to be awesome, and I can't wait to be part of it.
Cool.
Participate as well.
So, let's really drop in and go deeper. So let's all absolutely plan on 3 things for sure. Plan on the October 15th and 16th online summit that we just showed you. Then come to Sedona. And for those of you who can't come to it, of course, the Awakening World will be bringing you all of the different things that are taking place that weekend. So that's what the Awakening World will be all about that weekend. But then Nicole and Krista, our other co-host, are doing something very, very cool a couple of weeks later, again in Sedona. Sedona is the place to be. And so I'm going to turn it over to you, Nicole, while I bring up the website to show the audience about the Heaven on Earth 1111 event.
Yeah, thank you, Scott. Yes, this is I did a retreat last year. It ended up being 22 souls, half men, half women, and it was a Heal the Healers. It was a beautiful activation, and I realized at that retreat Krista was my divine partner in the next one, which I work with Metatron a lot in my work, and he told me he's working with me. And this all came through that this was a much bigger event that we were to create, and it was to be over the 1111 gateway portal, which is one of the biggest manifestation opportunities and portals of the whole year. And so this all came through as a really powerful experience. It's actually going to be in downtown Cottonwood, and we're going to do some really cool things on the 12th in Sedona on the land. We're gonna have a ecstatic dance on the Red Rocks, and we're doing all kinds of cool things. But this is really to help us know, like the day one is really about where have we been and where are we going? And we're going to have Raquel Spring kind of sharing the Aquarian age vision. We're going to be talking about releasing the paradigm and doing some of our own shadow work, so that then on day two, we can go into the consciousness of what we're here to create now. How are we to be in community? How are we to collaborate and create together? We're going to have a panel. Larissa Stowe, who's been on your show, will be sharing about the Weevolution and how we operate in community. And we're going to have all kinds of conscious musicians as part of it. Aurora is going to be doing her incredible sound healing activations. And day three is really about the 1111. How do we manifest? How do we operate in this new frequency and bringing it all in? And it ends with a new earth cosmic ball that night. So I'm big on experiential activation. So we're getting it from the sound, from the light language, from the facilitation, from the connection with, this is all for the light leaders, for the new earth souls that are here to take this seed back to wherever they're from and cultivate it when they go back home. So that's the intention, is to bring us all together to create this ba-boom, frequency energy of where we're going.
Fantastic. Well, I'm planning on being there for sure.
Yay!
I'll probably just hang out in Sedona for like a good,
Just be here with us for the fall, Scott. Yeah. We want you here.
It's looking that way. Well, thank you very much. I brought Aurora back on since she's going to be part of your thing, but I'll bring on one more time. I'm going to bring on our other guests, Peyton and Lori, and all these beautiful, amazing soul searchers. And, speaking of soul search, and Nicole just mentioned her, next Friday night, we're going to hear from Raquel Spring. And Raquel's been on the show a couple of times. And Friday night, she's going to tell her amazing story. She grew up in a cult in South America. And for the first 27 years of her life was in a very sheltered cult experience, broke away from it. And she's going to be sharing this amazing story of freedom. And it's an incredible story. Raquel is a remarkable being. And that's going to be next Friday night. So definitely join us next Friday night, that show. Again, another one of the amazing women met through Soul Search. And there are men part of Soul Search, by the way. We had a couple of them on the show last night, Miguel playing music and Brandon. So thank you again, everybody, for being with us. Definitely hope that you're going to all register for the retreat. If you can come at all, definitely come to the online retreat if you can't come live. And of course, those that can make it live, come to Sedona, be with us for the Global Peace Tribe retreat, be with us for what Nicole and Krista and Aurora are doing. We are really creating great stuff together. I'm going to go to gallery view so we can see everybody. So turn on your cameras, and we're going to go to Omoshar for our closing song. I'm looking for Omoshar. There he is.
But we do have a, sorry, I was going to say, we have a coupon code for your people. I'll pop it into the chat.
Oh, good. Yeah, I did put it in the chat already. If you could put it in again. And thanks for pointing that out. There is a coupon code for our Awakening World family. So definitely utilize that. And thank you for reminding Nicole. All right. We like to, in the beginning, there was Omoshar.
That's right.
Good. Omoshar, you are the Alpha and the Omega.
I am that. I am that we are. And there's two really short things I came to me to share. And one is we are all awakening beings, no matter how dense we've become. And something that came to my mind a couple of days ago was an upgrade. We're all aware of the statement, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And someone suggested to me, how about think of others as you would have them think of you? And that brought me a bit of a conundrum, because then I started thinking about all these people that in the past I might have had a judgment for, and I had to reframe all of those thoughts. And so it's an ongoing process. So that is that. And the song I'm going to sing is called Just When. And it's a direct transmission from divine consciousness as a reminder. So here we are, and here it is. Let me click some buttons and get rid of that. Bum, 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 bum. All right. Ta-da! In the beginning, there was us.
body to ground. Just when you think that all is lost, and the curtain looks to fall, perhaps it's just the song of hope that calls, and you trust in life exposed. No need to sit around and mope. Where there is love, there's always hope. Trust in your life and you will see that you reflect as me. Another day is here for you to live, and I'll walk it through with you. There is no doubt your heart is pure and true. So I came to remind you, no need to sit around and mope. Where there is love, there's always hope. Trust in your life and you will see that you reflect as me. I am in all that you will see. Have trust in your life and trust in me. Dust yourself down and I'll lift you up. I will fill your loving cup. Just when you thought that all was lost, I came to remind you, no need to sit around and mope. Where there is love, there's always hope. Trust in your life and you will see that you reflect as me.
Well, that's fun.
Let's all twinkle, beloved Omashar. Turn on your cameras, twinkle M.
Thank you all. What a beautiful, beautiful show, everybody. Thank you. I'm inspired for my day.
Thank you. And again, remember, you always can find Omashar pretty much every weekend on the Awakening World. But if you want to hear Omashar before then or after then, go to omashar.bandcamp.com. omashar.bandcamp.com. And that's where all things Omashar can be found. Thank you, brother.
Welcome.
You know, there was one other thing that I wanted to share with people that I was just alluded to, and Lori reminded me that she's got a really cool retreat coming up in Mount Shasta. And of course, our beloved Tangela is in Mount Shasta right now. Neil Gar is with her in Mount Shasta. And I'm sure many of you know Mount Shasta, but if you don't, it's one of the most magical places on the planet. Probably really two of the most magical places in North America are Sedona and Mount Shasta. And so Lori, tell us, I'm going to bring up the website. Tell us about the retreat you're doing in Mount Shasta, coming right up.
Okay, thank you, Scott. Yes, it's coming very soon, September 9th through 11th, called Gateway to the Gods. And that's exactly what it is. We're opening the gateway and bringing in whomever will be connecting with us. And I know there will be many high-spirited beings, I'll say, but what I'm feeling, two aspects to this is those who are in service seem to be showing up. So as we up level, then we can in turn, as offering this opportunity to learn and also bring this to those that we work with. This is for me, and I'm hearing this from others too, as I share my feelings about this, those that are connected to the Egyptian mystics and that which needs to be brought forward. I have a really deep connection this way. I channel a lot of information. I've actually channeled what's on the walls of the temples. And so there's information coming through also. So if you are connected to Egypt in any way, this is a great opportunity to hear what needs to come forward at this time. So thank you.
Beautiful. And one last thing, Lori, that you're actually, and we hadn't mentioned this before, you're offering a free consultation. So people that are interested in maybe coming to your retreat or working with you, you'll book a free 20 minutes with them. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good connection to see if it works, if it just blends right. Everybody needs to feel comfortable in it.
Beautiful. That's a wonderful offering. So I hope
you.
people take you up on it. Once again, good to meet you. All right, everybody. Next weekend, we've got 3 more original Awakening World shows. Friday night with Raquel Spring. Saturday night, all about relationships. Crystal will be co-hosting with me, and we've got some great presenters. And then on Sunday, we're going to be continuing the relationship theme with relationships as a spiritual practice. And I've got some wonderful presenters lined up for that as well. So do join us. Thank you so much and have a wonderful, wonderful week. I'm going to go to gallery view one last time. So everybody turn on your cameras and twinkle away so that we can all see the beautiful souls with us. Great to see. Hey, there's Scotty Satori and John and Suzanne in Ashland and Roger and Bonnie. They're coming to our Global Peace Tribe retreat. And of course, Eleanor, our dance queen from Saturday night. And lots of love, everybody. Good to see you. And we'll see you all next weekend. Take care.